Hello, this is Yoga Lakshmi Nandita. I welcome you to the Spiritual TV. We are here together with powerful Swamini Shakti. She's here to give a yoga teacher training course to a group of participants from Turkey and America. She also completed her Ananda Shakti yoga workshop. Now I would like to introduce her great wisdom with you in order to share this beauty. Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
I understand you founded Integrated School of Yoga in 2008 in United States.
Yeah.
Could you please tell us the main vision of your school?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you very much. Integrated School of Yoga is an organization of many talented yogic individuals. And one of the main characteristics of our school is the idea that when a yogi has a practice that is the combination of many different yoga styles, this creates a superior yoga practice rather than just fanatically practicing one or two yoga styles for years and years and years. And so for that reason, our 200-hour yoga teacher trainings are always a certification in 7 styles of yoga, making every Integrated School of Yoga graduate a teacher that can combine many different styles or also be someone who can teach a variety of different styles of yoga. And so the 7 styles that make up our 200-hour teacher training are integral yoga, traditional hatha yoga, classical Raja yoga of Patanjali, Ashtanga Vinyasa small series, power yoga, artistic yoga, and yoga therapy.
So you're teaching integral yoga and artistic yoga besides of other methods and style.
Yeah.
I'm very much interested in integral yoga. Could you please tell us what it entails?
Yes, thank you. First of all, integral yoga, sometimes also called Namaskar Yoga Integral, in order to differentiate from the Satchitananda Integral Yoga, it's not that. What it is in reality is it's a free-form style of hatha yoga. What I mean by free form is it respects the natural human body rather than forcing it into unnatural alignment techniques. Also what I mean by free form is the integral yogi guides his or her asanas by the spine rather than by the hands and the feet. Another characteristic of integral yoga is the use of namaskars. And so what I mean by namaskars is spine warming, alternating of arching and rounding the spine, which can be actually applied to every asana in the dictionary. And also the integral yoga is characterized by the application of laterals, twists, asymmetries, and partial posture variations of the arms, the legs, the hands, the feet, the neck, and the face applied to every asana in the dictionary. And so what's fantastic about this is it allows for the creativity of every integral yoga teacher. It makes it so that the integral yoga classes are not always the same. And it also avoids a situation of the yogi getting blocked in his or her body because he or she only practices the same way. In this way, the integral yogi can always find a different variation in order to target different vertebrae and different muscle groups. Therefore, he or she continues to move forward.
I've been practicing yoga for many long years, and I found the technique of integral yoga very effective. Your emphasis of spine, I find it very spiritual. Could you please talk a bit more about this?
Yes, I feel that integral yoga also is a very effective yoga, not only just for producing strength, flexibility, and coordination in the students, but I've had many writing me letters over the years saying that their intuition also has greatly increased as a result of practicing integral yoga. It produces also a very powerful energetic awakening in a lot of individuals too, unblocking, continual flowering of the spirit and a transformation of the mind. Integral yoga is a yoga that definitely deserves attention and consideration at this time in the yoga world.
That's why we are so glad to be able to teach it.
Yes.
And also you're teaching artistic yoga, which I found very liberating. It really liberates the soul.
Oh yes.
It's like dancing,
Yes.
like yoga asanas.
Yes.
What are the basics of artistic yoga?
Okay, thank you so much. I agree, artistic yoga is spiritually liberating. That's actually one of the main pillars of artistic yoga as a method, is the idea that when we say that yoga is spiritual, in reality we mean that yoga is spiritual the way that art is spiritual, because we consider spirit to mean feelings and emotions. And so all enlightenment paths are in reality emotional paths, and every true yogi is in reality someone who takes the journey of feelings and emotions. So this is one of the emphasis of the artistic yoga method. Now, what happens with artistic yoga is it has in actuality a very specific technique. It is not the same as other, creative yoga dances. The technique is set up in a very specific way to induce a moving meditation, an ekargata, that means a concentration of the mind, thereby allowing for the spiritual and emotional energy to expand and to be channeled in a way that it can be maintained, not just for little snippets of 30 seconds, but actually for an entire 5 to 7 to 10 minutes, creating literally like a poem made by the body. And so you will find in every artistic yoga class the usage of aesthetic asana, a gesture of the hand, passage, timing, drishti, and then these little poems are added to music, which allow for an education of channeling of feelings and emotions in every determined moment.
It's beautiful, it's so beautiful. I feel like we come to a point of definition of yoga.
Okay.
So what is your personal definition of yoga in your own words?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I would love very much to say in my words the definition of yoga. Of course, there are many different definitions of yoga being passed around at this time, but in my words, one of the most important ways of defining yoga is, in reality, learning how to feel. Yoga is an education on learning how to feel. Now, this eventually extends into an education on feelings like peace, feelings like love, feelings like freedom. There is generally a lot of confusion about what is love in actuality. I know that I've thought many times in my past, why don't they teach this in school? This is so important. Love. Nobody teaches love.
You're right.
But that's actually what yoga is you could consider it a training in feelings such as love, joy, freedom. But yet I insist that the most important way to think of yoga in reality is learning how to feel and learning by feeling. We have a society that learns by thinking, and a yoga education is learning by feeling.
Because I have participated to the course, I know what you mean, I know the difference very well now, because I've experienced it deeply.
Okay.
Can I say that you found yourself teaching Do you yoke in yoga?
Yes, I do have a yoke. That means a connection to the universe that I've achieved by following this path of feeling. Yoke is not something that can be achieved intellectually. And so in my yoke, you're right, I have found myself teaching.
So why are you yoking with us then?
Okay, well, for me, in my path, I actually learn an enormous amount by teaching and by yoking with students. It's a very common thing in the yoga world for people to practice in seclusion and to learn from books, but really I'm a person that demands more learning than that, and I have found that when you're alone reading books, it's very easy to imagine that you're at a level that you're not, but when you're teaching or learning with real flesh and blood individuals, then in exchanging energy with them, your own blockages really become exposed. And so that gives you the opportunity to work through them and to make your spirituality a real life experience. And so it's exactly for that reason that it is still in line with my joy to be teaching and yoking with students.
Thank you for that. You emphasize intellectual learning, but on the other side there's another tendency. People understand being spiritual as psychic or mystic. Let's talk about this a bit.
Okay, I love this question. I actually emphasize learning through feeling, which is different than intellectual, but you're right. I've noticed that many people tend to think that the word spiritual means psychic. And it is my personal teaching that I disagree completely. I have seen in my own experience that just because someone is psychic does not necessarily make them spiritual. And I have also seen plenty of people that are very spiritual that are not psychic in reality. And so what spiritual, the definition of spiritual, if you remember that spirit is feelings and emotions, spiritual is somebody who's intelligent about feelings and emotions. That means not only being able to command feelings and emotions, but also being able to channel feelings and emotions. The suppression of feelings and emotions is not the true emotional path. And when somebody embarks in this emotional journey for long enough, they eventually arrive at a state of freedom, a state of compassion and understanding for other people's feelings and emotions, and also a state of, general joy. You could basically say that anybody who has learned how to be happy is spiritual. Whereas with the psychic, there are plenty of psychics with big emotional problems, and there's plenty of psychics with that are not in line necessarily with joy and freedom and compassion. And so in my definition, there is a big difference between spiritual and psychic, and it is not necessary to be psychic to be spiritual.
So common understanding of yoga is quite different from your point of view. I find it very revolutionary. So you created your own yoga, Ananda Shakti yoga, which is a part of Tantra yoga style. And what are the basics of this yoga?
Okay. The Ananda Shakti yoga is a joy and a power yoga in reality, in its philosophy. What we emphasize a lot is the alternation of opposites. So it's a very illogical, and yet it is a reality, that in a spiritual person, when they increase in one side of an opposite, the other side of the opposite increases simultaneously. And so The first set of opposites that we teach is a backdoor enlightenment system and a front door enlightenment system. So a backdoor enlightenment system is basically exactly what all authentic yoga methods are and Zen methods are, which is essentially a slowing of the intellectual and egoic minds in order to open the subconscious minds and more than anything, open the feelings and emotions. And the back door is a surrendering door. However, the front door enlightenment method is what the majority of metaphysics and New Age spiritualities are, which is a creative door, which actually opens the eyes to know itself, practicing what I call outrospection, which is knowing yourself by looking at the constant reflection of yourself at all times throughout the day, and then analyzing of all of my many vrittis or vibrations. What is she reflecting? What is he reflecting? What is that loud noise reflecting? What is that peaceful sound reflecting? And so Ananda Shakti does not necessarily prefer one door over the other, which makes it different than other self-realizations, but it teaches actually an alternation and a combination of the two doors. So to know which door is right for you in a determined time, you need to already have some experience with your feelings and emotions, and you need to see which side of the set of opposites is resonating with you and gives you an emotional lift or a sense of relief, and that is your indicator that that's the door that's going to move you forward at any determined moment in your life. And so beyond front door and back door opposites, we also have many more sets of opposites, like for example, silence and talking, selflessness and selfishness, love and indifference, freedom and bondage. Lots of things like that we have in the philosophies. And so we also remind you that in a spiritual person, as they increase their spirituality, the two sides of the coin should be manifesting in equal measure. And that if only one side of the coin is rising and the other side is neglected, that leads to dukkha or blockage. And so if that's the case in a yogi, when they find out about the other side of the coin, they'll feel that relief. And that's how you know that that's the side of the coin that you should be developing at that determined moment.
Then you have lots of techniques to create this, to catch this self-realization process.
Yeah.
In Ananda Shakti Yoga.
Yeah.
We would like to share some of the techniques you are using in your yoga, if possible.
Okay.
Can you please show us some?
Yes.
Thank you.
I teach a variety of different samyamas. So a samyama is a mental and emotional yoga that alternates concentration and meditation back and forth, so that internally you can move blockages and keep energy flowing properly. But also I teach a set of over 30 very intense and mysterious Kundalini mudras that are not found anywhere. And they belong specifically to Ananda Shakti Yoga. So I think that what I would really like to share at this time is the initiatory mudra, or the first mudra learned by any Ananda Shakti Kundalini yogi, and it's called the Angel Mudra. Okay, so the Angel Mudra is, first what you have to do is it's very important that you create a chalice or a V shape by connecting the thumb to this part of the hand.
Dear Ma Shakti,
Yeah.
can I recommend the followers to practice with you?
Yes, please.
It would be really great to get the effects of the mudra. You can practice with us.
Okay. So you have to connect that V and make the chalice shape, exactly like that. So if you're a little bit off, please, I need you to be very precise because there are nadis or meridians in the hand. So make sure that the thumb is exactly following that line, making literally a chalice. You can choose for the fingers to be flared or to be together. And the very first way that we'll use the mudra is by placing it downward in our lap, putting the crown of the head over the tailbone, and relaxing the unnecessary tension of the body. Please continue to breathe with your nose and just wait for the effects of the mudra to intensify. Now, another way that you can utilize the very same mudra is to press it forward like this. Try to flatten your hands and put your drishti into the V and hold. Another way also is to place the thumbs in order to create the chalice with your wrists crossed, and then rest the hands at the height of the ten-ten, right at the top of the pelvis, hands parallel to the ceiling, and feel the effects of the mudra. Breathe. Very good. If you're enjoying that one, please continue to work here. But a lot of people find it powerful to take the angel mudra and place it onto the two chakras of the chest. And to work here. If you enjoyed any of those variations of Angel Mudra, I hope that you will take a moment after this video to continue to meditate and enjoy the effects of the mudra.
Thank you very much, Ma Shakti.
Thank you, Yoga Lakshmi.
Namaste for
Namaste.
showing this
Thank you.
to us. I'm so glad to be able to share the Angel Mudra and the great wisdom of Ma Shakti with you. We hope to meet again and have some more interviews.
Sure.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.